Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. The world needs to hear your message and your story, so don't deny the world of that gift within you that the universe has given you. Someone out there needs to hear your story because it will support them in feeling hope, inspired, and even transformed. Do you want to discover how I help get my clients out of their own way, show up, and confidently share their message? I would love to extend an invitation to you to join me in my free masterclass, Start Your Own Podcast from Idea to Implementation, on Wednesday, April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find the registry link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Sarah K. Charles. She is the founder and managing principal of Sanctuary Financial Planning, also the founder of Cooking Works. Welcome, Sarah. It's so lovely to have you here. We've been trying to get this done for a while, so it's nice to finally have you here and be able to jump in and share all about the beautiful light you put out into the world through all the work you do, and a little bit about your story and your journey. How are you today?
I am great. It is really good to be here with you, Brad. Yes, this has been a long time coming.
I'm really excited to jump in and share all about Sarah K. Charles' world. So with that being said, let's jump right in. Sarah, what inspired your journey into the world of finance?
So I was less inspired and more, I kind of stumbled into it. Okay. So I was an economics major at Duke University, but then after graduation, I did what almost no economics majors do, and I enrolled in an acting class at NYU because I thought I wanted to be.
Because why not?
Right, sure. And when I didn't get instantaneously discovered and whisked off to Hollywood, I was like, acting might be tougher than I thought. And I did a brief stint as an event planner before landing at Goldman Sachs in 1999. And that was what really set me on the path I've been on for the last almost 25 years. And it turns out a really excellent path that I chose.
Excellent. And so what drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do?
This is really, the work I do today with Sanctuary Financial Planning is really, I am a huge advocate for women's financial empowerment and women's financial independence. And I'm also really passionate about what I call the democratization of financial advice and increasing accessibility to independent, objective financial advice to help people reduce their money stress and reduce their overall stress and have more confidence. So when I get up each day, I'm really led by my purpose.
So what was the catalyst or the inspiration for you to shift out of corporate into the entrepreneurial world?
The company I was working for went through a merger. So I had been at a wealth management firm that was part of an accounting firm, and I had been there over 14 years. I was designated to succeed my boss when he retired a few years down the road. My future was so clear. I knew exactly what it looked like. And then our parent company announced a merger, and all of a sudden everything changed. And the gift in all of this was it forced me and allowed me to go on what I call this year-long journey of self-discovery, where I really spent some time thinking about what is it that I want to do at this stage in my life. And my journey coincided with my husband's journey as he was coming out of his first attempt at retirement. Yeah. And our paths intersected, and last spring we decided to launch Sanctuary together, and it's been amazing.
Beautiful. Why did you decide to focus your energy and business on helping to empower women through financial literacy? Did this journey begin for you with some of your own personal struggles?
100%. I sat on the sidelines of my own financial life for over a decade. And I say that as someone who majored in economics at college. I understood the importance of financial independence from my mother, but we all make choices and make mistakes along the way. And I found myself really sacrificing my financial autonomy. And then when my now ex-husband and I separated, I had a big wake-up call. Holy cow, girl, you need to take ownership. You need to get your act together. And that was a big turning point for me. And ultimately that experience helped motivate a lot of the work I do today.
How have these experiences, would you say, helped shape the Sarah you are today, both personally and professionally?
When I think about the biggest challenges I've faced, and two of them we've already touched on in the first 5 minutes, this career shifting merger and a divorce, they have led to some of my greatest accomplishments. And what I have been able to achieve is only because of what I've been through. Every bad choice, every mistake, every failure, those are all lessons to be learned from and opportunities for growth.
And so out of those lessons, what would you say has been one of the biggest or most valuable takeaways for you?
I really love the idea of looking for gifts. There's a quote from Richard Bach where he says, "There's no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. You seek problems because you need their gifts." And so I can say, gosh, going through a divorce was a terrible thing. Or I can say, well, what are the gifts that I was able to pull from that situation? And what I have learned is that every time I go through something challenging, there's something positive waiting on the other side for me.
Yeah, I love that saying, and it's so true. We have to be able to take a step back and look in at the situations when they're happening and find the silver lining or find the gift there, because no matter how difficult the situation is or seems at the time, there is always a gift within it that we have to be able to pull out of it in order to learn and move forward.
Yes, 100%.
You say that it's your mission to teach women to develop financial confidence and shine a spotlight on hourly planning, which democratizes the financial services industry and increases accessibility to independent, objective advice. Why have you decided to make this your personal mission, and why is it so important to you?
So my passion for working with women and teaching women to develop financial confidence, again, stems from my own experience and also from knowing the statistics that 95% of women will eventually become their family's sole financial decision maker. And I want to see women step into that role feeling prepared, like they're ready to take it on. The idea of democratizing financial advice with hourly planning it's a newer mission for me, but just as important. And I have spent a long time working as a financial advisor. I spent many years at a firm that takes the traditional approach of wanting to work with wealthy people and charging a percentage of the assets they manage. And when my husband Jim was doing research on what our company was going to look like, Sanctuary Financial Planning, he was the one who gravitated towards hourly. And the more research I did, the more it just made so much sense to me. Why not increase accessibility to independent objective advice? Why would you pay an advisor an ongoing fee that can tally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over time? Why is it that people who don't have enough money can't find someone to help them? And what could we accomplish if they could find someone to help them? And they could get their questions answered, and they could develop more confidence. And so now this is what I do every day. I mean, I spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. What would you say are three of the most important lessons you've learned in your career as someone who has had a career in the world of finance, and how have those lessons helped you in your current business with helping women?
So I would say first, authenticity is a privilege. And I can't take credit for coming up with that. I heard that at a conference, but I have latched onto it because it really rings true for me. So I think authenticity is so important, but it's also something that I've had to essentially fight for the right to show up as my most authentic self every day. I think two, it's good to stop every once in a while and just assess where you are. It's so easy to make a choice and then eyes down, straight ahead and stay on the path. And one of the greatest gifts of the merger was it forced me to stop and reassess. What am I doing? Is this where I want to be? I'm living the life that my 33-year-old self decided was a good life, but what does my 47-year-old self need? And then let's see. Third lesson, I think you can move mountains with a growth mindset. I think having a growth mindset is it's so impactful. I
love that. Moving mountains with a growth mindset. That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. What lights you up or inspires you the most about the work you do, Sarah?
I love helping people. I do. I love helping people, and I love helping people develop clarity and confidence around money, which is such a source of stress and angst and heightened emotions of all stripes. So just helping people get some clarity, get some confidence, answer their questions, answer that burning question. Am I going to be okay? Do I have enough? That really is what gets me up and out of bed every day.
Money is a very touchy subject for a lot of people. It's a taboo subject, and I think a lot of that speaks to our conditioning growing up, how we were raised, the thoughts that were planted, the seeds that were planted about money when we were kids growing up. And I can remember here, money doesn't grow on trees and all of these things, right? All of those play a part in the way we look at and think about money as adults or even as teenagers growing up.
So I love that you brought that up, Brad. One of the conversations we like to have with clients is, we call it the Your Money Story conversation, but it's essentially asking clients to spend some time journaling with some prompts around what was money like growing up, and then helping facilitate a conversation. Because if we can understand what shapes your beliefs and behaviors around money, that informs us around what's going to drive your decision making, and how do we actually develop a plan that you're going to stick to and that's going to work for you.
And you can help them shift their mindset around those beliefs.
Absolutely. If there's behaviors that are not working for you, let's understand where they come from, and let's address them and acknowledge them and figure out how to adapt them and move past them.
Absolutely. Confidence, of course, is key. How do you differentiate between financial literacy and financial confidence? And how does fostering confidence play a crucial role in women's financial empowerment?
So I think the two are intertwined.
Okay.
And financial literacy for me is knowing what to do with money, understanding key concepts, key terms. But financial confidence is more of a mindset and more the idea that you trust yourself to be in charge. You trust yourself to make decisions. And I think having financial literacy builds financial confidence. What's the saying? Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
So having that knowledge can help, but then confidence is more than just knowing how money works. And the framework I've developed for teaching women to develop financial confidence is things like forget your fear of failure, be receptive to risk, silence the stereotype that women are bad with money. So it's a combination of knowing what to do and then having the framework to put it into action.
Thank you for that clarification. As we've just talked about, people's relationships with money are very complex. And in the work you do, what are some of the other ways, other than what you've mentioned, that you help people navigate the psychological aspects of your clients' financial behaviors and beliefs?
So I'm really interested in the behavioral finance piece. And I sometimes joke I potentially would have been better served with a psychology degree versus an economics degree, just given the nature of what we do. But the money story conversation, which I shared with you, to me, that is that I don't like to use the word should very often, but that really should be the foundation of planning, because it gives you such important perspective on what you'll actually implement, what you'll actually do. But we facilitate conversations around money and values. We ask clients to draft a statement of financial purpose, have a why behind your money. You're not just saving money to save money. Let's create some purpose around all of your financial decision making. And I don't know too many advisors who are doing that. I think it's a slightly different approach.
Is that first piece, that conversation, the journaling prompts, is that integral to your business? Like you do that with every single client when they first come to you, when they first decide to work with you and your husband?
We don't do it with everyone because not everyone wants to do it. So we offer it, we suggest it, it's out there. We can't require people to do it. We can spend time educating and talking about why it's important. And I'd like to think over time, as our practice grows, the types of clients who will seek us out are the clients who are interested in approaching their finances from it's a more integrated approach.
Yeah.
To look at the interior elements of finance and the exterior elements of finance. What are the nuts and bolts of managing money, and also how do you behave with money?
As we've said, again, financial discussions can be very taboo with certain people. How do you empower women to break through those social taboos around money? And what impact have you seen when women openly discuss their financial goals and challenges?
So this is such a great question. Like you, I'm working really hard to create opportunities for women to talk about money. So I developed a series called Your Money Will Last Longer Than Your Husband.
That's a unique title. I like that.
Thank you. It's framed as conversations to help women build confidence. And we've been doing them in person in Charlotte where I live, but also just now this year expanded to include virtual conversations. I've developed a class I'm going to be teaching this spring called The Fearless Girl's Guide to Finance. And it's a combination of me teaching what I know, but also journaling, reflection, small group discussion. I have hosted conversation circles in the past, which is an opportunity for women to come together and talk about money in a safe space. So I look for ways to create that safe space, to remove the taboo. I talk a lot about eliminating money shame. And I want women to know, first of all, they're not alone. Probably a lot of people who are feeling some shade of what you're feeling when it comes to money. I'm very candid about my own money mistakes, again, to help eliminate shame. But yeah, I think the world would be a better place if we could learn to talk more openly and more freely about money without the shame, without the judgment, without the sense of, oh, I'm so far behind in my saving, or I don't have enough money, or I have so much money. People just bring shame into conversations all the time.
We need to normalize the conversation around money and let people know it is okay to talk about it and share. Yeah. And you doing what you do by sharing your struggles that you had financially, you're leading by example. You're letting these women know that it is okay, that, hey, I've had those struggles too. So you can open up and share.
Absolutely. I want my story to be somebody else's survival guide.
There you go. Gender-based financial disparities persist. How do you address and help women overcome these gaps? And what systemic changes do you believe are necessary for achieving financial equality?
I wish I had a really good answer. I think change and progress are incremental. And so the fact that we talk about women's financial inequality, if we can keep talking about it, keep shining a spotlight on it, keep elevating awareness, that's going to help us figure out how to shift to a landscape where there's more parity between men and women. I do think helping eliminate shame around choices you've made, what you have done, what you haven't done, shame about not saving enough, taking a break from the workforce to raise your family, care for a sick child, all the things that women contend with that keep them from achieving. But yeah, we have some work to do. There's no question.
Tons. I think we still have a ton of work to do. I mean, conversation, we have to talk about these things. If we don't talk about them, if we don't shine a light on them, nothing's going to change. That's the way forward. I believe that conversation is the catalyst for change. So if we don't talk about it, nothing will change.
I agree. And the more voices that are talking about it, the more we can amplify it.
Absolutely. 100%. Can you share any specific initiatives or programs you might have in place which are aimed at addressing that gender wealth gap?
I've never thought about the programs I've put together as being aimed at addressing the gender wealth gap, but I do think I address some of that in the things I speak about and the things I teach on.
Of course, supporting women in business is crucial. How do you encourage women to invest in themselves and in other women-owned businesses? And what impact can this have both on a personal and collective financial growth level?
So for starters, I'm very candid with clients, prospects, friends, women in my circle about the investments I've made in myself over the years. At one point, a few years ago, I was working with 3 different coaches. I was fortunate that I had the resources to be able to do that. But I think, framing it as an investment, not an expense, when you're talking about investing in yourself. And I think what we do with financial planning, some people could look at financial planning and say, well, that's a $4,000 line item in my budget.
Yeah.
Or they could say, gosh, I'm going to make an investment in financial planning so that I've got more confidence, more clarity, and I have a framework for navigating all my financial decisions.
That mindset shift is a huge piece in all the work you do. I mean, people are coming to you that are struggling financially, and the conditioning and all the things they've been raised with. So being able to get in there and work around that and shift that is huge. That's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. Reframing is such a fantastic tool, though. If you can allow yourself to stop, pause, and then say, okay, how can I shift my perspective on this?
Yeah, for sure. You're right. You should have a psychological degree probably would have been very helpful in this world.
Oh my gosh.
That you're working in.
Oh, totally. Everything is really about human behavior and humans are messy, complex individuals.
Oh, yes. Well, life is messy, right? It's all part and parcel. It's just weeding through it all and moving forward, being able to move forward, providing the tools to move forward. Now, women's financial experiences, of course, vary globally. How do you engage with and learn from financial practices in different cultures, if at all? And what insights do you think can be gained from global perspectives on women in finance?
For regulatory purposes, I'm limited in terms of my clients have to be here in the U.S. Right. So I don't have the opportunity to work with women in different cultures. But anytime there's data out there, I'm super curious. And so a few years ago, UBS published a report and it was women in 8 or 9 different countries. And they broke out the responses by country. And so it was interesting to see there are some universal truths. Women's lack of confidence when it comes to personal finance isn't limited to the U.S. It's pretty universal. But in different countries, there may have been different drivers or different cultural reasons why something was more important, less important. I'm always curious when information is out there, but it's not anything that I personally have.
Financial goals evolve across life stages. How do you tailor financial planning to address the distinct needs and aspirations of women in different stages of life, from the start of the career to retirement?
Well, every financial plan is unique, and the way we approach it at Sanctuary, we've got custom planning packages. We've got custom planning services where you can sort of build your own plan. We've got bundles, and our service offering is always evolving because we're trying to figure out what is it that our clients need and how can we meet them where they are. But I've had some amazing conversations with young women who are in the early stages of their career and just in the beginning of their wealth accumulation journey. And I've had some incredible conversations with women who are approaching retirement. Ultimately, what planning does is it provides a framework for helping you navigate those decisions wherever you are on your timeline.
Entrepreneurship requires unique financial strategies, of course. How do you assist women entrepreneurs in managing finances, navigating business expenses, and building wealth through their ventures?
So that is one of the things I love about what we do with hourly planning. A business owner is building their wealth in their business, not their brokerage account.
Yeah.
And most advisors, I'll say most, want you to have money in your brokerage account. So we're actually very well suited to work with entrepreneurs. And I have a real high degree of empathy as a newly minted entrepreneur myself. I'm navigating a lot of the same challenges and decisions as a small business owner. Should I take a salary? Should we take distributions? How much do we invest in the business? Should we be pouring more money into the business or pouring money into retirement? So I think having that shared experience and that empathy actually makes us incredibly well suited
for sure
to work with small business owners.
Are entrepreneurs and small business owners the primary focus of Sanctuary?
It's one key area for us, yes.
And let's shift gears a little bit here. I want to, as I mentioned off the top, you're also the founder of Cooking Works. I would love for you to share with us a little bit about Cooking Works, what it's all about, when you founded it, what the inspiration was behind founding the company.
Sure. It's not a company. It's a volunteer effort. I founded Cooking Works in 2013, and it started out as a program where I taught people who were formerly homeless, who now had permanent supportive housing. I'd come and teach them how to cook once a month.
Awesome.
And it started because I love to cook. At the time, I was newly divorced. I wasn't doing a lot of cooking for myself, cooking for one, not so much fun in my world.
No, I agree with you 100%.
And I was listening to someone speak about an organization in Charlotte called Urban Ministry Center. And he was talking about they had a program called Running Works where people came and ran with people who were homeless, artwork, soccer work, they had all these programs. And I chased him down the hallway of the hotel after his talk. And I was like, what about cooking? Like, what a great skill. And they had just opened up a facility called More Place, which provides, again, permanent supportive housing to people who have been formerly homeless. And so I taught my first class April 6th, 2013, and it has grown. I have a core group of volunteers who do it with me.
Yeah.
We expanded it to include field trips and guest chefs and different culinary experiences. And actually, we are in the process of reimagining Cooking Works going forward. So it's been housed in More Place, and what we are now doing is, how did I describe it? We're a group of vagabond cooking volunteers. But we want to bring it to other not-for-profits in the community.
Gift.
Yeah. We love to cook, and we love to teach people to cook, and we love to create community around food. And it's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
So you go in, you have these sessions once a month. You teach the attendees who are there how to cook. And then do you sit down together as a community, as a group, and eat as well?
Yeah.
That's
it's not
awesome.
quite as formal as sitting down at a table, but yeah, there's that shared experience, sharing food, breaking bread together.
What a beautiful gift you're giving people. I think that's incredible because they do. People who have shifted from homeless to now having permanent, they need to know how to cook. They wouldn't have normally, or typically, they probably wouldn't have those skill sets. So I think that's incredible that you're doing that and teaching these people how to cook. And do you give them recipes? Do you leave the recipes for them and create a whole recipe book for them to use? And
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thanks for asking about it.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I don't know if it's unique, but I do embrace a growth mindset. I've been really willing to learn along the way. And as part of that, I've been resilient. I have navigated the challenges life has put in front of me. I've gotten through them. I've survived them. I've learned from them. I've grown from them.
Speaking of success, Sarah, how do you define that word? What does the word success mean to you?
I want to leave the world a better place than when I came into it. I just want to know that somewhere I've made an impact to make the world a better place. Then I will have been successful.
Love it. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before you learned it? And what was your life like after learning it?
I have learned, Brad, that I can't script it all out. At some point, I need to lean in and just go with the flow. And I think before I figured that out, I was always frustrated when life wasn't perfect. And here I'm making quotes with perfect. And after, sure, life is bumpy, but I know I'm going to learn as I go. And I just accept that I'm going to get to where I need to be. And I don't have to know where that is. And that's okay. And that's really hard for me to say. Like, I'm sitting here saying, oh gosh, she sounds so casual saying it. Like inside, I'm like, wait, Sarah, do you hear yourself? But yes, it's okay to not know where you're going and to just trust the process.
That's a tough one. It is hard to trust, and it's a journey. It's a constant work. We are constant works in progress. So it takes that constant work for sure.
Yes.
What was a turning point in your life, Sarah, and how did it affect you?
I always think of my life in thirds, which means I'm going to address two big turning points. And I always feel like the first third of my life was about dependence on my parents, dependence on people while I was growing up, dependence on my first husband. I went into that marriage looking for somebody to take care of me. And when we separated, I was 33 years old, and the next chapter was really about independence, right? Sarah learning what is it like to be on her own, figuring out who I was, what I wanted to do, what was important to me, exploring my passions, building my network, building my personal community. And it was great. And when I was 42, I met my now husband, Jim, and entered into that third chapter of partnership. And now we are literally partners in all we do because we're partners in life and partners in business. But I always think about that progression of being dependent on others to take care of me, learning to take care of myself, and then getting to a place where I was able to really enter into partnership and share that with somebody.
What would you say is one of your biggest failures or life lessons? And what did you learn from it?
Well, I have been fired from my job twice, and I got fired from my first job as an event planner. And one of the big reasons I got fired was because it was my first job out of college, and I didn't have a lot of mentorship or guidance early on. And so I made a lot of bad choices and mistakes. And so what it has taught me is the importance of providing guidance and mentorship for other people, especially early in their career. But we don't know what we don't know. So unless we're willing to find people who can teach us along the way, we're not setting ourselves up for success.
We all need that guidance. As you said, at one point you had 3 coaches.
Yeah.
So there you go, right?
Exactly.
It's important to have that guidance and that mentorship. Now, I mean, not everyone can afford to have 3 coaches. And so what would you say, what piece of advice would you give to people who don't have a lot of money for things like that? How do you suggest they find guidance and mentorship?
Well, part of it's going to depend on, so if you're employed, what does your employer offer? Is there some kind of business resource group, a women and allies group, a women's inclusion network? But even if you don't have that, finding someone you work with who you admire and respect and saying, hey, I could use some guidance here. And let's just say you work at a really tiny company and there's no one there. Go outside of where you work, right? Just look to your circle, who you know. There's got to be someone out there who you respect and admire. And I find that most of us want to help other people.
For sure.
Most of us are pretty okay with helping other people, sharing advice, sharing wisdom. I do tend to live with an abundance mindset, but I find a lot of people do. It doesn't have to be about paying for coaching. It's learning from the people you know and turning to them for guidance.
Beautiful. What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you first started your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that it's just that, Brad, that it's a journey to be enjoyed and not on a race to cross some magical finish line. Ultimately, I don't know that this work is ever done, not in my lifetime, but I'm trying to enjoy the path I'm on instead of zipping through it and moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, I think people jump into entrepreneurship with the mindset of, oh, I can choose my own hours, I can do whatever I want, and I'll be making tons of money, and it's a long road.
It is the most exhilarating, amazing, incredible, terrifying work I have ever done. The highs are high, the lows are low. There's a lot of fear. We believe in what we're doing, and we've had such a strong response, but then some days it's, oh gosh, where's our next client coming from? Oh gosh, why isn't this working? And it's funny, if you spend any time on social media and whoever you're following and they're sharing all their successes, and gosh, how did they get there? When is it going to happen? And then I remind myself, we're less than a year into this journey, and if it was easy, more people would be doing it.
Absolutely. And what those people that are sharing their wins aren't showing you is the other side of it, the struggles, right? It's the highlight reels.
Yep, exactly.
And people need to realize that there are struggles there, and you won't get through this without struggles. It's impossible. It will stretch you in ways and test you in ways you never thought possible.
No question.
What does the word empowerment mean to you, Sarah?
The first word that comes to my mind is agency. And I think about agency, autonomy, confidence, being in control of the choices you make.
Yeah.
And taking responsibility for those choices properly.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3, 4-word answer type thing, okay? What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
I want this business to be successful. I want validation to know that we chose a hard path, but we chose the right path. And I want to see our impact.
What is one of your favorite quotes?
Everything you lose is a step you take. Taylor Swift. You're under it.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Authentic.
What
you see is what you get. More than one word, sorry.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My ability as a storyteller.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Sarah, what did you learn from your experience as breast cancer survivor?
Answer your question. You had to know that was coming.
I learned a lot. It gave me deep appreciation for my body, for my health, and what it can do. I've had a conflicted relationship with my body over the years. I have overworked it at times, and going through breast cancer made me realize this is the one body I got, so I want to take care of it, but I want to appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
My girl Taylor Swift. I'm a big Swiftie.
Apparently.
I'm a big Swiftie. Well, and I have a lot of respect for Taylor Swift for what she has accomplished as an artist, as a storyteller, as a woman, as a businesswoman. And I have watched her over the last 18 months. And so, yeah, I would welcome the chance to sit down and chat with her and understand what's it like beyond what we see publicly.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Be patient. Be patient, Sarah. Great things will happen for you, but just let them come in their own time.
Lastly, Sarah, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Well, I was going to default and say I'd just hold up my phone and play Long Live by Taylor Swift, but then I feel like maybe I'd be disappointing you with that response.
No, whatever feels right for you.
I would want to let the world know that women's financial confidence is important. We control a tremendous amount of wealth. We're going to control more wealth as time goes on. So let's eliminate the shame. Let's normalize these conversations. Let's provide the education so that we can all feel confident when it comes to our finances. And I will say, the reason I focus on women's financial confidence is because there's a lot of data around women's lack of financial confidence. But there's also a lot of data around men's lack of financial confidence. There's a lot of human lack of financial confidence. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see us get to a place where we all have confidence, I hope, when we get behind the wheel of a car. So how can we get it so where money is just this normal thing?
Yeah, it's just second nature.
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you so very much for taking and making the time to be here with me today and share a little bit about your story, your journey, and the beautiful light you're putting out into the world through the work you do to help women around financial literacy, financial confidence. I think it's so important and amazing work that you're doing, as well as your Cooking Works work. I think absolutely incredible. So thank you for being here with me today. It's been an absolutely beautiful conversation.
Thank you, Brad. I really enjoyed it.
Once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Sarah K. Charles. She is the founder and managing principal of Sanctuary Financial Planning, as well as the founder of Cooking Works. Thank you so much, Sarah. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thanks. You too, Brad.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.